Hello, sixth graders. This is Mrs. Hebert. You need to open your math journals and in the table of contents on the next blank space, write in the lesson number, which is 10.1, and the title is going to be Expressions. And then I don't have my journal with me, so I can't tell you exactly which pages these should be, but just follow along whatever comes next in your table of contents. Then set up your first page to look like this with 4 boxes. The first 2 boxes are going to go all the way across the page, and they'll take about half or a little more than half of the page. And then boxes 3 and 4 are going to be at the bottom, and we'll do some examples down there. Okay, in box number 1, you're going to write down some definitions. The first definition is for an algebraic expression. An algebraic expression is an expression that contains one or more variables and may also contain operation symbols such as plus or minus. And then the definition for a variable is a letter or symbol used to represent an unknown number or an unspecified number, and the value may change. And then a constant is a specific number whose value does not change. So for example, what we need to do is write down an algebraic expression. So an algebraic expression could be something as simple as 3y, or it could be something bigger like 3y plus 9. So if you look in this particular instance, the 3 is a constant because that number doesn't change. So that's a constant. I'll put a C for constant. The y is a variable because that's the unknown number or the unspecified number. And so you have, in an algebraic expression, you're going to have at least one variable, and you may have an operation symbol, but in this case we don't. Well, we don't have it written, but it's implied. When you have a number next to a letter, you multiply. And we usually put the number first. So 3 times y would be 3y. In the next problem, 3 is my constant, y is my variable, and 9 is another constant. And then my operation symbol is a plus in this case. Remember that an expression is a math problem without the solution. And so when you have to write an expression, you just have to write the math problem, not the solution to it. Okay, in slide number 2, you're going to make this table, and you're basically going to create 5 headings at the top: operation, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So really it's not, operation is not one of the headings, but it lists the operations at the top: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And then the words that are used in math that clue you in that you're going to be doing each of these operations are as follows. So for addition, you may see words in word problems like added to, plus, sum, more than, or and. For subtraction, you're going to see the words subtract from, minus, difference, less than, or less. Multiplication will use words like times, multiplied by, product, groups of, and then I don't know why I have this one. This is not the case. Not take away. Take away should be over on subtraction. Sorry, I goofed on that. Add take away to subtraction. So multiplication would be times multiplied by, product, groups of. And then for division, divided by, divided into, and quotient. So those are just words that clue you into what kind of operation you'll be using in the problems. Okay, in box number 3, we're going to practice basically working with expressions. And so what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to understand what an expression means. So if they say n times 7, we need to know what the math problem is for that. What is the math expression for that? So n times 7, the times means multiply. And so this would be n multiplied by 7. But usually we put the number first before the letter and we put the letter after it. So this would become 7n. Let me go over that with red. So 7n means 7 times n, or n times 7. 4 minus y means you start with the 4 and you subtract y. And remember, y is the variable because we don't know what y will be. You have to figure that out. In 13 added to x, if you're adding 2x, then you have x, and you're going to add to it 13. Now you might see 13 plus x, and that would mean the same thing really, because in addition they're interchangeable. You can change the positions and the answer will be the same. But as far as following the wording, 13 added to x means you start with x and then you add 13. And then the last one is the quotient of x and 12. So quotient means divide, and I have to be really careful in division problems. I have to go in the correct order. If it's the quotient of x and 12, that means x has to come first, and it's going to be divided by 12. Or you might see x over 12. So either of those could be the quotient of x and 12, but x has to come first because it will make a big difference in the answer. Okay, in box number 4, we're going to go the other way, and this time we're going to write the words or the phrase for each algebraic expression. So y over 10 basically means y divided by 10. So we would put y first because it's the numerator. Y divided by 10. For 10x, that would mean 10 times x or 10 multiplied by x. So that one could be either one. And then for c plus 3, we would do c, and then plus and 3. So those are fairly simple algebraic expressions to convert into phrases or words. They will get more difficult in some of the examples and some of the practice we do, but that's basically the idea. Okay, and when you finish, your page should look similar to this, although I used different examples underneath the definitions in box number 1, and you can use the ones that I used, or you can add these if you want, but I was just really trying to show you the difference between variables and constants, so it doesn't really matter which examples you use. And then the other thing that you have to change is in box number 2, you have to cross out the takeaway under multiplication and move it over to subtraction, which is really hard for me to write this small, but just go ahead and move it over to the subtraction column and take it out of the multiplication column. Other than that, it should be pretty similar. And that's it. We're done with this lesson. Good job.